Ready? Cool. You know, when I was a kid, I was afraid of everything. Like, think about a time in your life of something that, created in you immense fear when you were little. For me, it was spiders, girls, being rejected, being accepted. It was all these different things. Like, even going to the beach would create so much anxiety in me, to the point that what it would do is instill something called worry. And I don't know if you've ever had worry in your life before, but it's honestly one of the hardest things for us to deal with. Especially as we get older too, we worry about tomorrow, we worry about our past, and oftentimes we miss out on today because we spend all of our hours worrying, right? But fortunately for us, we know that when we have Christ in our lives, that God actually has a lot to say about worry. And so one day, Jesus was actually with his disciples, and he was on the road, and he stopped in the middle of a field. And he looked at all of them, and he leaned over, at least that's how I imagine him doing it. And he says to his followers in verse 27 of Luke 12, he says, "Consider how the wildflowers grow. They don't labor or spin thread. Yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all of his splendor was dressed like one of these. And if that's how God clothes the grass which is in the field today and is thrown into the furnace tomorrow, how much more will he do for you, O you of little faith?" He goes on to say, "Don't keep striving for what you should eat and what you should drink, and don't be anxious. For the Gentile world eagerly seeks all these things, and your Father knows that you need them. But seek his kingdom, and these things will be provided for you. Don't be afraid, little flock, because your Father delights to give you the kingdom." It's really interesting because in Scripture, God actually tells us 58 times, don't be afraid. In fact, in all of Scripture itself, there's actually 366 occurrences where it says, do not be anxious. And it's so funny because in our lives, man, we worry, we're anxious about literally everything. But see, the beauty of all of this is knowing that God is with us wherever we go. And so if we know that God, the maker of the universe, is with us, if we know that God clothes the lilies of the field, if we know that, God takes care of the birds up in the barn, then we know that if he says that he loves us, that he's going to take care of us as well. And so my encouragement to you is, what is it in your life that you are afraid of? What is it that is creating all of this worry in your soul? Now ask yourself an even deeper question, is where is God in light of this danger that you're looking at? You see, when we realize that God is with us wherever we go, we actually have nothing to be afraid of. No longer do we have to, look into our own selves and be like, man, I can do all these things. But instead, what we can say is, God can do all these things in me. When you realize that, that is how you get control over your worry, over your anxiety, and over your fear. So my encouragement to you today, if you're watching this, is, hey, don't be anxious about anything, but instead know that God is with you, that he's for you, and that he loves you.